What's up, dudes and dudes of the internet? My name's Seth, and we are back again with some more Trove. And today, finally, is the day of all days. We're going to be talking about the recent developer live stream. Now, there's going to be a lot of triggered saltiness on my part in this video, and it's not related to Lenny C for winning and obtaining the only Yabaki mount in the entire game that is not owned by a developer. Because the developers have had this thing in the game's code for probably like 2 years. Pretty ridiculous when you think of how long it takes some of these things to end up getting in the game that the players actually want rather than all the stuff that they keep on developing, right? But either way, you can hop in Team Pixel right now and check out the mount thing and see the mount right here. Hopefully people don't end up blocking it all off. But Lenny C, you're a baller, man. It's absolutely awesome that he's got Yabaki. Now I'm jealous and I want mine. But that's not why I'm going to end up getting triggered, because there's quite a few cool things that the devs ended up talking about in the recent dev stream. But I gotta tell you guys, I'm gonna be brutally honest when it comes to some of the things that they do try to sell with the recent dev stream. And it's just, there's some things that I just straight up, I do not buy it. I don't buy what they're selling, but we'll save the judgment for afterwards. You guys let me know in the comments if you end up disagreeing with anything that I talk about, any points in the video or whatever. I always like hearing your guys' feedback and stuff like that. And then otherwise, be sure to hit that like button and let's just get right to it. So first of all, Luxian obviously is back. We'll talk about the various items that he had already in a video a couple days ago now, depending when I get this video out to you. But they're gonna be overhauling gardening. Speaking of a feature, like I'm not against this, but it's just another thing that feels like a waste of effort to me, because nobody, and I mean nobody, is asking for them to overhaul the professions. Nobody cares, let alone like them saying that they're going to be working on gardening. They have talked about this in the past and overhauling the professions and stuff like that. But seriously, the gardening is like real life gardening. You plant something, you wait a while, and then it's grown. Problem solved. You don't need to overhaul that. Like, seriously. So what I'm worried about is I'm expecting that when they say overhaul, I'm hoping that they're going to end up just overhauling it and making it into something that's a little bit more appealing to players, maybe give us a little bit of mini games and stuff like that. But more so, I'm actually expecting that when they say overhaul, I'm starting to dread that idea, because whenever they talk about that in the past, over the last year, it just means, oh, we're going to be adding a bunch of cash shop stuff that's going to, improve the time-gation of this content, right? So it's like, time-gation, is that time-gated content? You see what I'm saying? But I'm fully expecting that they're going to end up introducing different mechanics that are going to either be time-gated or stuff that's going to end up being in the cash shop that's going to more exclusively work with the professions. Don't quote me on that if it doesn't end up happening. But I'm just very, very reluctant when I hear stuff like that. So anyways, they say that there's more spoilers about U10 in the next update is going to be coming around in October. And apparently they're going to be having an update coming early October, as well as the Shadow's Eve Halloween event coming out, October 23rd, which they've talked about, which does beg the question. Merc ended up making this point when I was talking with him, and I thought that it was actually really, really funny and also probably true, where Fasty, who's the guy who manages like the Facebook and the social media and the Twitter and all that stuff, ended up saying how the U10 update was more than likely coming out in October. And it turns out that we actually do have an update scheduled for the beginning of October. No idea what's in the content of it, but the fact that they're not talking about it even now tells me that it's not really anything big. But I'm wondering, did he just know that there was an update coming in October and then went out of his way to say that that's when U10 was coming out? Which U10, for those of you that haven't kept up with the videos, it was originally planned for October. Maybe it never was, but it's coming out in winter now. Apparently, the developers were actually very disappointed at the fact that the game, that the update couldn't end up coming out on schedule, which, it's to be expected that would end up getting delayed, because apparently it's going to be a big update. But there are a lot of features that we're going to be talking about in this video that I am very, very skeptical of it, guys. Like, seriously, it's like I want to get hyped about U10, but every time they end up slowly dropping all of these hints about it, I'm not really liking what I'm hearing. You know, maybe I've been playing this game too long. Maybe that's the real bottom line. Maybe I need to take a break, you know? So anyways, let's get to the question. So what's the official name of the U10 update and how big will it be? So they say that they haven't released the official name yet. It's more than one word. As for the size of the update, it's hard to quantify it, but it's classed as a major update, which can range anywhere between a new class and rampage bosses and a mini biome to, you know, the geode update, which that I would say is probably the biggest update Trove's ever gotten, despite the fact that it was, you know, met with kind of mixed opinions. When will you give a massive U10 spoiler? So when are they going to end up talking about U10 and stuff like that? I love how people start saying it's spoilers when it's the developer's job to get people hyped about this stuff. Or, well, I guess that's more my job and other content creators' job now, right? Is we just end up grabbing anything that we can latch on to with these guys and then end up sharing it with all of you. So they go on to say that we've already given away some spoilers. We are slowly letting them seep out over time. What I want to know is when are we going to get our hands on it on the test server, because that's more important to me. We got to be able to experience it for ourselves before we end up actually having judgment towards the update, which is why I'm trying to be very held back with my criticisms towards all this stuff. But based on the way that they're explaining it, it's like, I don't know if I'm as hyped about it as I was. So how many packs are planned to add when the U10 update hits? I like that question because immediately somebody thought to themselves, how many packs are they going to add? How much money am I going to have to drop down? Now, I guarantee you that there's going to be some type of time-gated content, or they're going to add a new cache or box to the game that I'm sure is going to end up being something that you essentially can buy out of the store to get yourself tradable versions of various items that are either otherwise going to end up being very difficult to craft, just because they've done that with the resistors update, the geode update, and so on. So they say we don't usually give out a number, but it will be similar to the other major updates. Now, I hope that that doesn't mean it's similar to the geode update, because oh my goodness gracious, they had like 50 different packs with the geode update. Some of them are still around, which are absolutely disgusting. Like, seriously, I don't like the fact that they added so many different packs, and so many of them being beginner's traps and useless. Like this one right here, the Geodian pack, Companion Pack 2. I bought the first one because I thought that the items out of it were of value, but 20 bucks for a couple things? Not worth it at all. So anyways, is there any chance to add, this is a question we've gotten very, very often, basically saying, is there a way that we can get battle rank or PvP XP through Bomber Royale? And they say that, yeah, we'll be adjusting that to apply to Bomber Royale eventually because of the trophy related to it, or the badge, I guess. Maybe they're talking about a trophy more on the PlayStation or something. Yeah, consoles, there's the Glorious Gladiator trophy, and without a proper club doing CTF or deathmatch, it's impossible to get that. So they're going to end up adding that to Bomber Royale eventually. Can we get another way to get pearls that isn't time gated so heavily by RNG? Very, very fair question. And the developers say that you can actually place fixtures in clubs to increase the drop rate. These fixtures are useless compared to a lot of the other ones that give you more damage or just give you other various benefits. The main way to assist in the fixture is the main way of assisting in getting them. They're also tradable, so you can get them off of the marketplace. And some gear will also drop with pearls already applied to it. Outside of these ways, no, there's no other changes that are planned. They're looking at another way with an upcoming system update. So maybe they're going to be overhauling the gear, not necessarily for U10 or anything like that. They just say an upcoming system update, so who knows what that means. Why did you remove vibrating on the controller with your final jump? Apparently they say that's a bug on console and they're going to fix it. Why is the super magical costume so expensive? Because it's 200,000 flux. If you guys don't already know, like, this costume is actually broken in its price, and their justification for it is kind of ridiculous. But if we take a peek at any of the costumes right here, you can see that so many of them are like so cheap. And then we've got the super magical, it's hiding somewhere around here. I'm pretty sure, unless they have it in premium collectibles. I don't even know anymore, dude. It's been like such a long time. I'm pretty sure it's here in costumes. I just can't see it for the life of me because my eyes are broken. Yeah, there it is. But this thing, 200,000 for no reason, while every other costume is 50,000 flux. And their justification for it is because it's super magical. The real reason, I'm just kidding. The real reason is that they originally could be obtained from the costume mystery boxes, which have been removed from the game, so get over yourselves. So they also want to make sure that the costume maintains its high value for players that got it from that route. I'm pretty confident in saying that anybody who ended up getting the costume from the mystery boxes was more so getting it from mastery, not because they enjoyed the costume, and I don't think anybody would care that they lower the crafting price, myself included, where I'm pretty sure I ended up actually crafting it. If I didn't end up getting it by other means, it's been such a long time. Can you give us an estimated time of arrival for when the Revenant, Ice Sage, and Shadowhunter issues plaguing speedrunning in Shadow Towers will be fixed? So if you guys don't know what's going on, the Revenant is like super duper powerful in Shadow Towers. You can actually, I'm assuming that what they're talking about is the fact that you can die in Shadow Towers as the Revenant, and you can essentially heal out because your lifesteal is that insane. And just be invincible, right? The Ice Sage is that you can throw down a bunch of pinatas and you jump up in the air and you shoot down on them with the Ice Sage's class gem ability, and every single one of those pinatas is going to proc your class gem explosive ice shot ability for the third attack on every single one of them. So if you throw down 100 pinatas, that's essentially 100 times the damage that you're going to be doing towards Daughter of the Moon or any of the bosses, right? Shadowhunter kind of can do the same thing, where you throw down a bunch of pinatas and you can shadow mark all of them, and then you end up, you know, having the explosion going on. I'm pretty sure that's what they're talking about. Maybe they're talking about some other stuff, but I'm not exactly sure. But they say that it's going to be fixed in the next update. Pinatas and sports balls will no longer count towards combat buffs. So that's good, because I don't think that they ever should have. Can you make Binding Darkness more obtainable? Now, before we end up reading more about this question, the way that I gauge things in my community, and personally I think that the devs could actually benefit from, is that I will, you know, I listen to your guys and gals' criticisms on my videos, but honestly speaking, I don't put any merit towards it unless I see it as a recurring complaint. If it's one person talking about it, that's just somebody not liking the way that I do things, and there's nothing I can do about it. If a lot of you guys end up talking about something, then I know, okay, this is something that I gotta seriously look at, or at least, you know, work on or consider. Like more recently with my bee dragon video, where everyone said, oh, it's a super duper easy dragon to get, which it's not. You know, I ended up actually getting all your guys' opinion on that, and I'll have a separate video talking about it. But essentially the bee dragon is very difficult to obtain, despite the fact that some people ended up getting lucky with it and say that it's not. Either way, there was enough complaints on my video about that I ended up going the extra mile of listening to you guys, right? So anyways, the fact that people are constantly asking the developers to change Binding Darkness tells me that this is something that they should put their focus towards, because it's every single live stream. Somebody's always asking, and it's not always just the same person. So anyways, they say that, you know, is there going to be another way of obtaining Binding Darkness? Endgame players are suffering to grind these up. I had an idea of making Contained Chaos Sparks a rare item from farming dungeons, like 1 out of 500 to 750 dungeons, which I think is, I honestly think that that's still a little bit too difficult. I think that they should either have Contained Chaos Sparks be an item that is more obtainable, or just end up having Binding Darkness a lot easier, especially considering the fact that, you know, it's already time-gated with the Lunar Souls in the first place, let alone Binding Darkness being as rare as it is. It's the one resource that holds me back from re-rolling my gems, because I frankly don't want to grind 5 hours for Binding Darkness and have nothing to show for it, because my RNG sucks in this game. I get nothing. I get absolutely no Binding Darkness. So anyways, they say that a super rare drop like a Contained Chaos Spark almost certainly wouldn't be satisfying either. Yeah, it would be a lot better than the system they've got right now, guys, like seriously. Plus, the other materials in the crafting of the Contained Chaos Spark are time-gated, and intentionally so. Okay, so basically they're saying that's why we don't want to have Contained Chaos Sparks as a drop. Okay, sure, but that's not an answer for the Binding Darkness. But they go on to say we can look into making it more obtainable, though, and we have a task to track this now. So hopefully enough people keep yelling at them that they end up changing this. I would really like another option of gaining gem leveling items from grinding. Something like lustrous gem boxes, but they would be kind of rare and they would drop a few lapis bugs or clovers. Very, very fair. This is another thing that lots and lots of people complain about. I see you guys mention this in the comments all the time. Like it's a problem. Getting to the end game of Trove is a problem, and not because it's difficult to inherently get power rank or anything like that, but because the developers don't actually play this game to the point where they don't know your guys' sufferings, where they start a new account. I challenge the developers, start a new account, grind all the way to the end as a free-to-play player. Heck, do it as a pay-to-win player, and you're still going to find that a lot of this stuff is either going to be very, very expensive. You're going to lose your house mortgage just doing this alone, or you're just frankly going to quit because it's so, like, time gated and difficult to end up grinding through it, especially with Binding Darkness being a time gated resource now, or not Binding Darkness, Bound Brilliance I mean. But either way, it's a very fair question to say that they want more ways of getting gem leveling up items and stuff like that. So the gem leveling is going to be a bit easier with the U10 release, so look forward to that. I guess they're talking about the new gem essentially giving us more power rank. Maybe it's going to be an easier gem to level. I don't know. I'm assuming it's going to operate the same as all the other gems. They say it's not directly what you're asking for, but should help with the core pain. So again, I'm guessing this is about getting your character more powerful and getting more power rank, in which case, yes, this is a good response. I think that having the new gems is going to end up making a big difference, but it's a quick fix that is easily going to end up being overshadowed by them constantly adding more and more things that are going to end up being more difficult or more time gated, honestly speaking. I'm fully expecting there's going to be a whole bunch of time gated stuff coming out with U10, if not probably the most time gated pay to win update of the entire game, but it remains to be seen. We'll see. Are you planning on changing flawless rewards now that it's possible to craft light chaos vaults? A fair question, but they say that there's no plans on changing this. Even though you can craft light chaos vaults, they are still worthwhile rewards for the flawless runs. I think so too. I do think that they could crank up the number of light chaos vaults that you end up getting as a reward though. Next question is, are you planning on changing older motorcycle models to have actual spinning wheels? So they say that it's honestly not on their radar, but they put in a lower priority request to look into this. They were likely based on the Tron-themed motorcycles, which we've talked about this in the past. You know, the Tron motorcycles don't actually have a spinning wheel, while the more recent motorcycles actually do. They say that it's a very low priority, but they might actually consider it. I personally think that it's a waste of effort. Like, don't waste your time doing that. The old bikes are still the old bikes, you know, and they kind of still do have their appeal in some way, shape, or form. I heard a rumor of the incoming damage stat being obtainable on gear and gems coming with U10. Is that true? I don't know where this rumor started, but they just say, no, there's no incoming damage stat, so reducing incoming damage and armor stat, if you will. I can only assume that, you know, during my live streams I talk about and say these things that I think would be really, really cool if they added it to the game, and I think that sometimes down the grapevine people end up misconstruing this information and saying that, oh, this is coming into the game or something like that, or, you know, they get carried away with the ideas of what we all want to end up being added, because an armor stat instead of max health would or even alongside max health would end up being something that I think could be very crucial to the game in terms of tanks and stuff like that. But the game isn't really like that. It's just everything's just a DPS character, right? But they do say that there will be a new armor penetration stat. That's not the final name. That will be in U10. So that's going to be coming out with the new set of gear that's going to be on top of stellar gear and the new gems. Now, I want to confirm here too, because I've seen people in my recent streams that don't know, they haven't kept up with things. There's going to be a new element of gem. There's not going to be a new tier of gems. So your current gems, if you have stellar gems and you have a full set and it's all perfect and everything like that, don't worry, you're safe, you're good. You are going to have to farm a stellar version of the new gems though. Okay? So anyways, next question is, will we ever get a mini map in the game? It's pretty tedious having to open the map every time we finish a dungeon. I completely agree. I think that a lot of players agree with something like this. So they say that it's not on the short-term roadmap. We certainly understand the annoyance of having to open your map every time. And then this gets to me, okay? The response right here really triggers me, because in a way I feel that this is their attitude towards game development. maybe not necessarily even specifically relating to Trove, but just in general with Trove's development, this always seems to be what they fall back on, where they say a mini map hasn't yet seemed worth it for the amount of time and effort it would take to implement. I understand that, but personally, I think that if they spent a little bit more time developing stuff that players were actually asking for instead of stuff that they think we want, I think that it would actually have a much bigger impact than they think in terms of this game's success and popularity. Because this is, you know, while we're sitting here talking about a mini-map, this is what they end up, you know, coming to with most of the things that people end up asking for. People can end up asking for very, very just changes to the game, and they just keep saying, oh yeah, it's not really worth our time to do this. And it's like, yes, it actually is, you know, because you're talking about your player base enjoying something that is going to end up being worth your time, because essentially it's going to end up bringing more player base. Like, optimize the game, you know, stop focusing on new content that's just cluttering things up, make it so that it's more optimized, and then more people can end up playing it, update your servers, whatever. All the same old stuff we've talked about. So will the following packs show up for credits in the not too distant future? The Eclipse pack, the swag bag pack, the Gourdzilla. So they say that the spooky swag bag and Gourdzilla packs will be for credits, but not the Eclipse one. Personally, I think they need to get over themselves and just make every pack worth credits. I don't know why they don't do this. I think essentially their mentality towards it, this is just me speculating here, that their mind is, you know, they're sitting here thinking, well, if we end up hiding experience potions through real money purchase, it means that we're going to get more money out of it, because the average player has to at least spend $5 if they want some experience potions, as opposed to being able to just grind the credit pouches in game for absolutely free. Not realizing that if they go the route of making every single store pack in the game worth credits, it means that the economy ends up getting a lot more balanced, because credit pouches suddenly become a lot more valuable and also become the one thing that you need to grind towards, rather than spending your real hard-earned money towards, you know, stuff that's actually in the game. And more so than that, what they don't seem to realize is that if everything is worth credits, technically somebody had to spend money to get those credits. So they're making the same amount of money, if not more, because they're going to be pleasing a lot more players that are being free to play, you know, and don't like the pay to win aspects of the game. Personally, I just think, you know, this is just my 2 cents towards it. They should do it. They should make everything worth credits, because a lot of the content is actually locked behind an actual cash wall. And if we take example Warframe, which is one of the most popular free-to-play games in the entire world, and they've got a similar mechanic to Trove, where they have platinum, which is the same as credits. I refer to this many, many times in my videos, where platinum is the resource in the game. It is the currency in the entire game, where players can spend money to get the platinum, or you can get to the end of the game or grind resources, or even beginning resources that pay-to-win players don't want to grind, and then you can trade those items for platinum from the pay-to-win players. And it's, you know, the community is out of this world awesome. The in-game economy works perfectly with this mentality in mind, and honestly, they make more money overall because they have more of a player base. They have more volume, you know. Anyways, I don't mean to ramble about specific subjects, but hey, I'm gonna give my honest opinion in these videos. When will the Sun and Moon aura be returning? So they said that there's no date or name for this, but most likely they're going to have a different pack come out that is going to end up having the aura, and most likely going to end up being the same price. So that's going to be a $100 pack. You know, we ended up buying it when the Mantle of Power update ended up coming out. So any comment on the slim availability of Cinnabar since the quality of life update? So I don't really understand this, because personally, I don't find Cinnabar to be a very difficult resource to get right now. You know, I kind of expected the price to be a little bit lower than this, honestly, but that's not too bad, you know, and we've got like tons and tons of pages of people just selling it and stuff. Maybe it's different on consoles, maybe it's buggy and doesn't show up for most people, but I think that they actually took a big step towards making Cinnabar a little bit more attainable, especially considering that you don't really need it for that much. Well, I guess you need it for beacons. Yeah, they should actually make it a little bit more common, honestly. But anyways, I think they've done a good job of it, but they say they're going to look into it. It was not intentionally lowered, so it's on their radar to investigate. I guess there must be a bug or something that I don't know about. So if the new gem color has different stats but carries a power rank increase, will the new stats apply to prior content? Shadow Towers have a power rank requirement, and that potential power rank fluff may annoy anyone trying to make a proper group. So this is kind of interesting, and this is where it gets a little bit disappointing, guys and gals. I'm honestly going to just say it right here, where they say, yes, they will apply to prior content. So the stats of more damage, more crit hit, more crit damage and stuff like that, the stats on the new gems will apply to the whole breadth of the game, including the power rank that you end up getting from these gems and the power rank requirement. You know, we're going to be able to get essentially, I think 32,000 power rank after the update, if not closer to 35,000, 40,000 power rank. Sigil is actually in the game's code, so it's only a matter of time before they add more things that increase our power rank. But anyways, they say that the armor penetration stat and other stats like that will not affect anywhere but U10. That's very disappointing. There's also another point that we'll get to a little bit later that makes U10 sound even less exciting. But anyways, they go on to say that the problem technically already exists because you can join somebody's group with high PR and maybe you just end up having higher health on all of your gems, well, meaning you're not going to end up being super effective for a damage character in the Shadow Towers, which all the more reason to give us more contained Chaos Sparks and be able to re-roll our stats more in the Binding Darkness, blah blah blah. If they know it's a problem, they should fix it, you know, because that it is definitely a problem. People with high power rank that aren't actually like powerful, you know. So do you have any plans to expand on the geode caves, such as different layouts like submerged water tunnels, waterfalls, combat available portals, new types of critters, new types of modules, anything like that? And they just go on to say that we do have plans to expand on the geode caves. Right now all they've got planned is a new critter type, which I'm pretty sure is just going to end up being the new companion that we're going to be getting with U10. And they're probably just going to throw it into the caves all willy-nilly like some new, you know, who cares is the real bottom line. I would like to see the geode update developed a little bit more, but I could say the same thing about Bomber Royale, and it seems like that project has already sailed, and it seems like it's already abandoned because we haven't seen anything new towards Bomber Royale yet. You know, they've teased new maps, they've teased different explosion video effects for your bombs. Nobody actually cares. Just give us new maps, just give us more things to grind out of it, even if just new maps, just because the game mode is so ridiculously fun. Like, start developing the content that you already have rather than developing new content, guys. Like, they've already got enough going for the game that I think if they ended up refining it all and making it all actually work together, like armor penetration working everywhere because of a combat overhaul rather than only working in U10 just because, I don't know, it's probably going to be like Ultra Towers, honestly. We're going to get into U10 and probably just have our damage scaled down, which is going to be very, very disappointing and lackluster. It's going to make us feel like we're not powerful enough for the area, you know, rather than it actually being something we earned. So anyways, they go on to say that, the next question is, will the geode surface mobs slash bosses have new combat mechanics and abilities? This is probably the most disappointing answer out of the entire dev stream, because it means that they went back on their biggest word that had us the most hyped about U10, where they go on to say that the bosses will have new abilities, but nothing too revolutionary. The surface of geode or U10, the new biome combat, will have new stuff to collect and some new objectives as the main focus, but generally it's just going to be the same grind that we've come to expect. So all of their promises, all of the hype that was around U10 about them overhauling the combat, you know, even adding an armor penetration stat, and all of this stuff that, you know, they let us overly imagine, you know, a lot, some of it's on us, yes, but a lot of it's on them, because they were very misleading, or I don't want to say necessarily that they were misleading. It's that they talk about these things. It's as if the developers themselves get hyped about an idea while not fully understanding the concept or the limitations of what they can actually attain. And because of this, I think that's why in their more recent streams over the year, You know, I think that that's why they've moved away from giving us spoilers, because they've talked about many things, they've showed many things, and ultimately, you know, we've always, well, not always, but more so than not, we've been disappointed at the results. And that's why I'm trying to be very reluctant towards U10, because I'm hoping that it comes out and just blows us all away. But the fact that they say themselves that it's nothing revolutionary, and that the combat will have new stuff to collect and objectives to focus on, tells me that that's all the update is. It's just going to be, you know, what I'm hoping U10 is going to be is more than what we've got right now, because what I'm expecting with U10 is it's going to come out, it's going to be really, really cool for the first few months, and then we're just going to be back to grinding our tomes every week, you know, and there's not really going to be anything towards grinding new content or anything like that, because we're just going to grind a couple mounts, a couple costumes, and then, hey, we're done, you know. That's what I'm expecting U10 is going to be, just more resources put in the way of us crafting a bunch of garbage that nobody wanted, you know, which, I don't know, maybe I'm being overly critical here. You guys let me know, okay? Like, let me have it. If I'm being overly critical about this stuff, let me know, because I know that my opinion of Trove has just been getting less and less and less enthusiastic. But I do want to make the point to say that I am genuinely excited about U10. I do think that it's going to be really, really cool. It's just I'm trying to kind of shatter my expectations of it, because I don't want to end up being disappointed. And I think that's the biggest reason why I'm kind of pushing this in my videos lately as a sort of white knight agenda, to shatter your expectations too, so that when it comes out, not everyone's going to be disappointed, and we're all going to be able to just enjoy it for what it is, which is just going to be more content, not inherently anything revolutionary, you know what I mean? But anyways, let me know, you guys. Am I being overly critical? Am I being overly negative? Am I getting really bad, you know, towards criticizing this game? I don't know. But anyways, are the new gems that are coming with U10, this is the next question, going to be leveled and augmented the same way as our current gems? If so, will currently crafted focus items work on them, and what will happen with the precise focus, the silver focus that ends up costing gem dust, right? So they're wondering whether or not the new gem dust type is going to affect anything in the game, well, more so the focus item, that currently costs gem dust in order to craft. So they say that, yes, these new gems will be leveled and augmented the exact same way, because of course it generates more money towards the gem system. And they say that the current focus items will work and will, you know, they won't be changing any of the recipes for them. So it's not going to end up costing the new gem dust in order to craft the silver focus. Not that anybody's using all their gem dust on that anyways. Like, seriously, it's overly expensive for lackluster results. Can lustrous gem boxes be obtained on other days of the week and increase the drop rate during Wednesday as well? This isn't something we have plans to change. Personally, I think that would be really good, because they can drop augment items, you know, they can drop randomizing a gem stat item. I think this would be great, because I think it would give players a lot more incentive to just continuously grind. And I feel that that's one of the big things that's lacking with Trove, is the developers acknowledge the fact that their average player base logs on for 30 minutes and then they log out, you know, which is not good. It just goes to show that they've got all of these daily things and time gated things that are in the way of people going to grind the game, not only because they enjoy the game. Like, I'm a freak, I'm actually crazy, okay? I am not the average player here, that I'm on this game every single day and grinding non-stop, like in U9, just because I'm used to doing it, you know, like grinding stellar gear that I just loot collect for no reason, because I have a compulsive urge to collect things in this game, you know? Like, I'm a freak. There's something wrong with me that I've been playing this game for this long, and that I play this game as long as I do daily, right? I'm not the average consumer, so they really should start placating things more towards the casual players that want to actually go for these things, you know? Like, seriously. Oh, Luxian must have arrived as I'm making this video. So anyways, and yeah, they just, nothing's going to be changed about that, unfortunately, so whatever, it's okay. Any plans to add companion egg merchant to exchange bronze eggs to silver and to gold? This is something that I actually ended up talking about a lot with Merc and Joe as well. I'm not saying I'm responsible for this question. It just seems that other people ended up coming to the same conclusion, where I think it's very fair. I think maybe 25 to 50 bronze eggs should end up crafting into a silver egg, and then maybe another 10 silver eggs, maybe less, maybe 5, should end up crafting into a gold companion egg. I think that would be very, very fair. And again, promote people to actually go out of their way to grind and to continuously play the game and actually feel like they're accomplishing something. Because the companion eggs are trash. They actually are. I've opened over 100 bronze eggs and I haven't been able to get the last 2 companions that I need in the rare section. I used lodestars on 50 of those eggs and I never got anything good out of them. So honestly, I've given up. I don't farm the geode update anymore. I don't grind bronze eggs. I'm daily putting in my bronze eggs that I've grinded up, because I grinded 100 of them like months ago, and now or a month ago, or whenever the geode update came out and it was popular, right? I ended up grinding like 80 to 100 more of the bronze eggs. I think I've grinded like maybe 200 total or something, and it's like, enough is enough. I don't want it anymore. So anyways, they say that silver and gold eggs are designed to be quite rare, most of all because they put them in the cash shop, I'm sure. And we're not looking to change that in the foreseeable future. We will also look at other ways to give out eggs, though. So probably just through events and junk like that. Next question is, people abusing / exploiting the top 100 Ultra Daughter of the Moon leaderboard have been running wild for a long time now. Any action being taken to address this? So they say that this should be fixed in the next update. I assume, more than likely what the developers ended up responding with is right, where this person is probably just asking about the Ice Sage, the Shadow Hunter, the Revenant, all these exploits that are in the game right now. Personally, maybe I'm reading too deep into this person's comment, but the fact that they say that abusing exploits for the top 100 Ultra Daughter of the Moon has been in the game for a long time now makes me wonder if this person is talking about the very reason why I've never gotten a purple name in Trove, and the reason why I have not much, let's say, respect for most of the people with purple name, because they act like they're, big for essentially just using exploits. There are some true speedrunners in this game that actually have like a group of absolute ballers that just destroy Daughter of the Moon at a reasonable time because they're that powerful, as opposed to what everybody else does at the game, which I would consider kind of a, an exploit or abuse of the system, where you just have a Candy Barbarian use its ult, everybody else is a gunslinger, so that you have attack speed and you just and the boss is dead. Like, it's like that doesn't take any skill. It's nothing worth bragging about, right? And now that we've got the new systems with, the Ice Sage and all that stuff, which is going to end up being fixed. But I would like to see an overall fix for it, where the end game would actually be people using a very powerful group rather than kind of abusing the way that Trove works. Maybe they could end up coming up with a solution of synergizing certain classes to end up working better together, so that there would be a little bit more incentive to have varied classes in the Shadow Towers rather than just having a damage buff. But that's just me, that's just what I think about it. Let me know what you guys think. I'd be interested to hear about it. Maybe there's nothing wrong with that aspect of the Shadow Towers, but again, this is why I always avoided purple name, because I could never stand the arrogance that most of the people have, granted they're kids on average, for having a purple name in this game that doesn't really require that much skill. Like, I've always kind of been open about the fact that I like this game because it's simple. I'm not smart enough or a good enough gamer to calculate and get to the end game of a game like World of Warcraft. And, I'm not going to deny that, whereas the people in Trove that brag about it, I feel, and have always felt, even when I first started playing the game, is that they're not good enough for World of Warcraft, so they come to this game so that they can brag to a bunch of kids about how good they are. But anyways, I'm getting sidetracked, sorry about that. Will there ever be new bonuses coming to the club for level 11 and up? So you can see right here, this is months after we ended up getting level 10 in our club. There's been no incentive to grind all the way up to level 11. We haven't even gotten it. And all it really does right now, I think, is give clue bits. But they say that there's not going to end up being any changes in the short term. I could care less. I think that the club leveling system is a little bit broken. In regards to just how the game works. Like, it requires insane amounts of grinding. So it's like, I don't know. I don't care about it, and maybe you guys feel different. Please explain flash deals, power deal system. How do they trigger? If you have over 20k PR before the update, do you remove your gems to get the shop item to show up? And basically the devs say that these will show up so long as you're qualified for them. You see that I end up having a lot of these show up, and some of them are timed, so they'll show up for maybe the first week that you're playing the game, or only a couple days, and then they're just gone forever, which they do say that they want to actually have them appear a little bit more often, so they are working on that for the players that end up missing it. When will the next update for the Prism of Light auras be? So Prism of Light is an item that you get out of Empowered Gem boxes that essentially gives you Stellar Hat auras, right? And they say that there's new auras going to be available with the U10 update. So I think Merc said that there's 2. I don't know where he got that number, so don't quote me on it. We might see more. They also ended up asking, I must have skipped over that question, but there was a question asking, will there be another Adventurine Dragon with U10? And the devs said, no, there won't be an Adventurine Dragon, but there will be a few new dragons. So possibly we'll see the new Primordial Dragon, as well as some others. So I'd be really interested to see what those are. Anyways, the next question is, will there be more Devastation events? So this was the recent event that we had that was dev related, where you would go out and grind some stuff, and then you essentially ended up getting a dev streamer dream box, which gave you a dev ally. And I personally think that they really should start developing towards this. I think that is a really, really awesome reward that we could end up getting, where it's an item that doesn't give you any mastery, it's just for vanity, and everybody gets something different. So Maple Story 2 is a prime example that I refer to a lot in these Trove videos, because I think that they do it right, where you'll go through certain parameters, complete certain quests, and maybe you just get a pair of blue jeans. It's very lackluster, but at least those blue jeans will be exclusive to that event and otherwise unobtainable, meaning that if you got them, they might suck, but at least you're the only person that's got them. Whereas Trove unfortunately suffers from everything giving you mastery, and because of it, everything has to be obtainable in some way, shape, or form. And I feel that that kind of holds back. So anyways, they go on to say that they will have the event reappear in the future, which I'm all for that. I think that that event was awesome. I think that the rewards being kind of random were really awesome as well. Will Luxian have Despoiled Divinities in the future? They say that he will continue to have limited resources like Despoiled Divinity. The feedback about him offering 1 single per visit, though, is a reasonable request, so they might increase it in the future. Will the new gem be of the Earth element? They say no, it will not be. I'm assuming it's going to be just geode element or whatever. If it's green gems, then we know that it's actually a recycled gem that they had in the game's code years ago. But again, don't quote me on it. Heck, it might be purple. Who knows? And then we got 2 more questions here, and then we're going to wrap up. I know this is a long video, so thanks for watching up to this point if you did. Was it intended that the Buildmaster mount, so this is the bulldozer that creates blocks behind it, they're asking why it doesn't place down scaffolding blocks and various other blocks, and they say that they'll double check on it, but they think that it was most likely intended due to technical issues, but they will look into it. I could see why they don't do it, but yeah. And then last question is, when is U10 coming out? And then it will be the feature update later in the year. So that's gonna do it for me today, everybody. Oh my goodness gracious. So many things that we ended up talking about today. Very exciting stuff, despite the fact that I know I'm overly critical, okay? I know that. I acknowledge that. I'm not in denial about that. I'm not trying to say that I sugarcoat things for this game. But really, I don't sugarcoat things, despite the fact that I'm loyal to this game. I am never going to quit this game, okay? I love it. I love it to pieces. And that's why I'm so passionate about it. That's why I want them to develop things that the players are asking for. And while it might seem on the surface that I'm just being self-centered and saying the things that I want in the game, I am a person that's been playing this game for years, so I do think that my opinion does hold merit. But most of all, I have the benefit of being a content creator and having so many of you tune into my videos and giving me constant feedback, even if not directed to me specifically. Like even in the Discord, I think that Discord is a great way that I end up hearing a lot of your concerns about the game that I get to reflect on in these videos and get to share my opinion of these things and kind of let you all know, like, this is what the majority of people are saying. And I'm not just trying to, say that, oh, this is the, the people that are watching my videos, we all agree on this, they're my fans. That's naive to think that the people that are watching my videos only share the same opinion as me because they're a fan of me. There's a reason why so many of you are watching my videos, and I think that's because we think very similarly towards video games. Like, we're passionate about it, we love video games, and we love Trove. I have so many people that constantly leave comments saying how they've quit Trove, but they keep watching my videos because they like the feedback that I give. They like watching the game, and people are always looking for an excuse to come back to the game as well. There's so many people that I've known since when I played back in the closed beta that have come back to the game hoping and expecting more. And in this day and age, you want to know what the most common thing that I get from people? Dark Soul. You guys remember him? I remember talking with him a million years ago. That was back when U6 was in the game. He was one of the big people that ended up helping me grind the flux to get Gonda. And then he grinded enough flux to get Gonda all by himself. And this was with U6, by the way, back in the day when Gonda was like 5 mil. And that was a lot of flux back then. Even this guy came back to the game and was saying how the game has become too grindy and too pay to win. And he just uninstalled immediately. And that's the general consensus for returning players, I feel, because we've had the benefit and experience of knowing what the game was like in the good old times, back when everything was accessible, rather than what they're doing now. And I feel that they really need to get their act together and start moving the content in that direction of what they used to develop, where you could feel the passion and excitement about these new projects and this new video game that these guys created, even if in a lot of ways it did originally rip off Cube World. I feel that it's gone above and beyond what Cube World's limitations were, but now unfortunately keeps meeting its own limitations in the form of lackluster updates that are made with the developer's opinion in mind, or the CEO, or whoever makes the decision of these updates, without having a proper connection with the fans of the game. And that's where, again, I have the huge, the privilege of being able to have the feedback of so much of you in the Trove community, that I feel that, even if I'm not saying that I gotta be like the Trove guy, or that I gotta have like, my opinion is the best opinion of the game or anything like that. There's a lot more people that are playing this game that don't watch my content, but the fact that most of you do actually watch my content and expect me, for my tutorials and the Trove guy and blah, 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 blah. I have this reputation for just playing this game and loving it, and I still play this game and love it. And it's like, because so many of you still come towards that and, kind of go towards these videos, tells me that you appreciate this game as much as I do. You appreciate the efforts that the developers do as much as I do, despite the fact that I'm overly critical about it lately. And you want this game to be more successful than it is, the same as I do. Anyways, I could ramble about that like forever, dude. Like, seriously, I love this game. Love all of you guys and gals for watching. Seriously, like, it's just, this game has been so good to me. I do not want to give the impression that I'm tired of this game, or that I'm frustrated at, I do get frustrated at the developers and some of their decisions I do think are kind of dumb, or in the direction that the players aren't asking for. It's more what they're going for. But that doesn't mean that I'm going to quit this game. It doesn't mean that I still don't appreciate this game's existence, because it's been nothing but good to me. The developers have also been nothing but good to me, so I do have respect for them for that regard, even if every single update tries to screw over their current player base. Thanks for watching, everybody. Don't forget to like, sub, hit that notification bell, and if you want to support me, you can always sponsor the YouTube channel with that join button down below, and you can always check out the merch. We got the Oh Hi merch shirt. Gonna have some more meme shirts in the future. This one right here is a shirt as well. I'm not just standing up because I'm an idiot trying to stretch my legs like I do in every single one of my videos. For some reason, I get so restless when I'm actually recording. But then there's also Gawkbox, which is a way you can donate to me for absolutely free. You can send stickers my way that will show up during my live streams as well. Thanks for watching. Sign on and stay epic, everybody.